Oh yeah, it's time for another episode of the Vactor-Verse. I'm here with my man Shoff. Shoff, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm feeling about as happy as this pumpkin on my shirt right now.
Yeah, we are in the
How you doing?
Halloween. I'm doing excellent, my friend, because it's that time. It's spooky season again. Last year, around this time in the Vactor-Verse, we talked about some Halloween comics, Shoff. We talked about some spooky comics, and we had some fun. So we wanted to do it again this year by not only talking today about Werewolf by Night in color,
In
but also
color.
we're going to be talking about the Star Trek Halloween, and that's hollow spelled like the holodeck
Mm-hmm.
uh, comics. So we're going to be talking all about that. So stay tuned here in the Vactorverse for some spooky season. It's time, Shaw. Um, and actually, speaking of Werewolf by Night, I reviewed the original version of Werewolf by Night in black and white on this channel. So if you are interested in my thoughts way back when, go back into the archives and check those out. But I never got Shoff's thoughts on Werewolf by Night. So this is going to be a double review,
Boom.
Shoff. So
Boom.
Werewolf by Night
Yep.
and then Werewolf by Night in color. So what were your thoughts on Werewolf by Night the first
Um,
time?
so I feel like I talked about Werewolf by Night on a podcast. So maybe it was this channel, but maybe it was just in my dreams. I'm not sure. Maybe it was in my dreams.
I have no memory of that.
I will say the original in black and white, just by comparison, I'll say it right off the bat, is the better way to watch this, I think. Because of the way it's shot, the B movie, monster movie sort of like format, like it just lends itself better. There's even like the aging like film grain type concept. There's the aspect of it actually being on like a reel, and you can see like the imperfections in the negative or something like that. Like all of that lends itself better to that black and white format. But it was really cool to see characters in color this time around. Overall, I really enjoyed it. It kind of made me wish that we could do more in that sort of monster side of the MCU. And it's kind of a bummer that there's so little for that right now.
Right.
Obviously they've sort of like they've opened up the my 18-month-old is talking to me through the door right now. She wants to chime in on Werewolf by Night. No, there's so much that they could cover, and they hint at stuff and they open up this universe, but there's a lot that they have yet to really explore. So what'd you think?
Yeah, I enjoyed it overall, and I think I'm going to echo your sentiments on the black and white versus the color. The color is cool. It's nice to see certain things in vibrant, something that is more what we are used to, I guess,
Right.
in our times in 2023. But I thought the whole point was to kind of be a throwback. I felt like the way that it was filmed, the way Michael Giacchino directed it, everything was set up to be an homage to those classic B movie horror, those 50s and 60s horror movies. And those by necessity were in black and white. They would have filmed in color, I'm sure, if they had the technology back then.
Yeah.
But that was just a limitation that they had. So they made the most of it. And there's something quaint about that homage in the original black and white. And I think, like you said, a lot of the film grain and a lot of the aspects technically were just filmed for black and white. And so when you put on the color, you start to see some of it starts to pull back a little bit of the curtain almost, because when you have black and white, there's certain things you can get away with not showing necessarily. And I think one of the biggest things that I thought was a downgrade almost by watching the color version was the CG on my favorite character in this entire thing, Ted, the man thing. Some of the CG stuff, like I could tell, it felt a little more obvious, like
Yeah.
a spotlight was being shown on it. But like the practical Ted, it was like, "Oh, yeah, this is cool." Like, I get um, that feeling, that vibe that of watching, like, a 50s and 60s horror movie. So, I think the better way to watch it is in black and white, but it's also cool to have this option. Most likely, I will never watch this version again, but unless somebody, like, wants to watch it, like I said, my wife down the road wants to watch it in color, I'll watch it again. But if I have a choice, I'll probably always pick the black and white version. So, that's kinda cool.
Yeah, yeah. You know, and I think that some of the outfits that they wear in this movie lend themselves to they knew that they were doing this in black and white. So
Right.
like some of the colors when they actually went to color are way more vibrant than probably they would be because they were trying to account for that contrast that would happen when it switches to black and white. So
Right.
like his cape that he wears at the end, like that man thing. By the way, I caught this only the second viewing. He picks up like this cape and brings it because he knows that that Jack, Werewolf by Night, is going to need something to wear. And I
Yes.
didn't catch that at first, and I was like, oh, that's actually, it's really thoughtful. Ted is such a thoughtful creature, and I think including him in this was brilliant. I love that, but it also makes me like just really crave more
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's like they set up this monster universe, and I wanna see more. There could be so many spin-offs. I mean, you could put Blade into this category, like, the Blade movie
Yeah,
could be in the monster universe or the
totally.
monster, MCU. So, I am disappointed that I don't know the numbers on it. I don't know if Disney Plus released the viewing numbers on it, but I don't talk to a lot of people that talk about it, so I'm not sure exactly how well
Mm.
this did with the general audiences. So
Well,
that's
and it was
yeah,
the first of the special presentations that
right.
they had ever done for the MCU. This one, and I think I want to say the only other one was the holiday special, the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday
Oh, yes,
special,
that's right. Yes. Yep,
which also was awesome and a lot of fun.
right.
I would love to see more, and it's certainly less of an undertaking for them to do. To have just an hour long, basically like an extended TV episode.
Right.
I mean, you've already introduced Elsa Bloodstone. She's a huge character, and to have only done a little bit of something with her, and she has the Bloodstone now. Like, I remember last year for Halloween, we were reading those spooky Marvel comics, and Elsa Bloodstone
Yes.
was featured in at least a couple of them.
Yes.
And there was one that was really that we both really enjoyed that had her teaming up with some monsters, and it was sort of like a monster detective type
Yes.
comedy, and I loved it. It was great. So
Yeah.
I look forward to hopefully they do more in this type of stuff. I don't normally like monster stuff. Like here's the thing. Full disclosure, Shoff does not like to be scared at all. I don't like that stuff. But monster movies are sort of the exception because they're not scary. Like they're meant to be like, oh, it's a monster, right? But like it's not scary to the point of where you just pissed yourself or you are in the midst of a heart attack and you need medical attention. Like it's not like that. But exorcism movies, I will never ever ever watch them. Vactor, you try to get me to watch an exorcism movie and our friendship is over.
Yeah, I'm not
So
a huge fan of horror, but there are certain things that I like, and when it's fun like this, that's definitely one that, I'm into. Some of the, like, Scream movies. Well, I do like the Scream franchise, and I think a little bit of the Saw franchise I'm into, but overall, in general, I'm mostly like Shoff. And for me, my cutoff point, Shoff, is virtual reality video games like Resident Evil in virtual reality. Not playing that
right.
because when you have all of your field of view is cut off and like you're completely immersed in that world, I don't wanna be there. That's not the good that's not a that doesn't sound like a good time to me, but like I said, when you have something that's kind of fun like this, and it's set up specifically to be this way, I think this is a good use of that horror and scary movie stuff. But, yeah, I think overall, it's the biggest takeaway from this is I'm sad that we have no plans for any of these type of things in the future. Not only these special presentations, like you said, the little shorter one-off, one-shot stuff, but also the monster universe. We
Yeah.
have there's nothing announced, and because of all the writer strikes, actor strikes, we s- everything's been pushed back. So even if there was something in the works, that's still going to get pushed out. So I think Marvel, unless they have like a huge fan reaction, I don't think we're going to get any more of these, which is a little bit sad. I think that's the main takeaway is I want more of these type of things in the future.
If you could pick one Marvel sort of monster character or somebody who exists in sort of like the occult side of Marvel, who would you want?
Well, I think that Blade, like I'm really excited for Blade. Whatever that ends up being, because we know that they're kind of retooling that and changing it. So who knows when that'll actually come out. But that one has been one that I've really been excited for. And then are we gonna get to see Kit Harington as the Black Knight? Like, what are we gonna get out of that Blade movie? Is my big thing. And that character is a lot of fun. And if Mahershala Ali stays, by the time it comes out, who knows? He may be they may recast Blade, but that's the one I'm most looking forward to. I love Blade.
Blade is cool. Blade is cool. I mean, Wesley Snipes probably is not going to be okay with no matter what comes out. He's going to be hypercritical of it. But Blade was good. You know that it's so funny. Of the Blade movies I remember, Blade Trinity I think is the one I remember the most.
Oh,
Because it had Ryan Reynolds in it
right.
and it had Triple H in it
Yes.
as well.
Jessica Biel. There was a ton of people in that
That
one.
was crazy. Yeah, as a
Yes.
vampire. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Tightest jeans ever. Uh, I'm talking
That's
about my
funny.
jeans. No, I'm just kidding. For me, if I had to pick a character that, although we've seen them in a Marvel movie, we haven't seen them in the MCU. I'd love to see some iteration of Ghost Rider.
Ooh, yes.
Obviously, we've seen Nick Cage, but it was a little over the top and stuff. We've kind of seen Danny Ketch because he was in the second Ghost Rider movie as a kid. But I didn't appreciate that. The little boy that is in that is supposed to be Danny Ketch. So
was he in Agents of Shield?
no, that was Robbie Reyes.
Oh, right. Yes. Right.
Who is the other Ghost Rider. But in addition to that, I mean, we've got Frank Castle as Cosmic. That would be hella fun.
Ooh.
I love Cosmic Ghost Rider. I mean, that would
Now
be
we're
really hard to
talking.
do in the MCU, but it'd be really fun if after Secret Wars they just start understanding, like I hate to say it, but I hope Marvel sort of takes some bits and pieces from what DC is attempting to do by sort of having a cohesive universe and then also having Elseworlds so that they can still do things that don't have to be so connective to everything else.
Right.
That would be fun because then you can get some of these other characters that, like, you could have Frank Castle in one universe and have Frank Castle as well as Cosmic Ghost Rider, and it could just be fun. Like,
oh man,
that's what I want to see.
Yeah. Well, hopefully What If does well, because that's kind of also the place where we can get some of that other worldly stuff. And I think they're more prone to take risk in animation than in live action. So hopefully we'll get some more stuff in What If season 2 and maybe beyond. But I am happy, Shoff, that we're going to be getting, or we're going to be talking more about the spooky stuff, the Halloween stuff coming up here in the Vactor-Verse. Like I said, stay tuned. Next week, we're going to be talking all about Star Trek Halloween, Hollow as in holodeck, and it's going to be a lot of fun, Shoff. So thank you once again. Oh, yes.
I had one thing I wanted to say.
Yes.
I had some trivia for you, Vactor. This is going to blow your mind.
Here we go. Here we go.
About Werewolf by Night.
Yes.
So the one of the characters, the guy with the big axe.
Yes.
His name is Joven, I think. Joven, or however you pronounce it. He is played by actor Kirk Thatcher. And we have seen Kirk Thatcher a couple of times in Star Trek, because he was in Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, as the punk on the bus who's playing the music too loud.
Yes.
And then he reprises his role in Picard much later and gets pretty much the same thing happen to him.
Yes.
I hate you and I berate you. That whole thing. So I just thought you might appreciate that. Us coming from our Treknopod Trek background, and now we're coming full circle in Werewolf by Night with Kirk Thatcher. So,
oh man,
a little trivia for you.
That's fantastic, Shoff. I had no idea, but now I love it. And now I can't stop. In my mind, I can see his face, and I'm like, oh, yes, of course, of course. So, yeah, that's cool, Shoff. I'm glad you brought that up. But, yeah, overall, I think we enjoyed Werewolf by Night in color. So check it out on Disney Plus and let us know your thoughts down below in the comments section. We will be back next week, like I said, talking more spooky stuff, Shoff. Shoff, what's the outro on this episode? What's the...
oh shoot.
Putting him on the spot.
I like werewolves at night, and you should too.
Yeah.